Hi everyone, this is Korean. I am back with another episode of our Inside Crypto podcast, and today we're talking about PECO, Polygon Ecosystem Index token. And before we get into that, usually we start on the token's actual page, but today, because all our tokens are actually doing pretty well, so I wanted to highlight that today. If you're just a Soli holder and you're not a DeFi holder or a PECO holder, yeah, this might be something for you to think about. But anything I say is not financial advice, but just wanted to highlight that today, something you can see from the tokens.amun.com dashboard. And let's get into PECO's news. As you can see, PECO is up 12.8%, sitting at $5.17 at the moment. The market's been sort of very erratic, going up and going down. And, because I live in Asia as well, so it's like whenever you go to sleep, you're wondering like what happens. I mean, do the Americans sell or do the Europeans sell before they go to bed? But yet, our tokens are looking good. Total market cap $762,064. Everything looks good. The constituents are still the same, right? Wrapped MATIC, Quickswap, Aavegotchi, gains are 4 constituents of our index. When the token started, our last rebalance, so we should have another rebalance in about 2 weeks again. So now, as usual, right, we're going to go through these tokens in order. So MATIC's news first, then Quickswap, then Aavegotchi, and then gains. Now, MATIC's news, of course, is, you guys probably saw this. I mean, our news today is from March 15th until March 22nd, which is the date that I'm recording this podcast, that Polygon had a network outage of 11 hours. That is the last time I looked into the number. Now, of course, right, when Solana had these outages, people would judge Solana. So, of course, we're judging MATIC, or people are judging MATIC, of course. And, this news sort of highlights that MATIC faces rising problems as Binance halts deposits and withdrawals. Binance is the biggest exchange in the world. It's everywhere. I often talk about Binance because Binance is my primary centralized exchange. And this just explains about the network outage and Binance stopping stuff so that, people's transactions don't get stuck in or being stuck in limbo, that sort of stuff. Now, network outages happen, right? Crypto is growing. Just like Solana as well, things are going to happen. Polygon fixed it relatively quickly. Of course, lots of people had issues. I mean, there are so many things that depend on the Polygon network as well. It's part of growing, right? Just like, when banking first started off, there were loads of issues, right? With Swift as well. You think about the Swift system for transferring money between people. Again, if you look into Swift history as well, and I've looked a little bit into it, is that there were issues where one bank transferred money to another bank and just disappeared into the ether. So this kind of stuff is going to happen with crypto. I mean, why I'm highlighting it is not to look down on MATIC or to say MATIC sucks. It's actually a good thing if you frame it in this way, that these problems is good for this kind of stuff to happen now. So the next time there is a network issue, MATIC or the engineers working at Polygon can fix it quickly because they've had the experience. It's just like if you think about it in life, right? Like, I have not driven a car in a long time, but for example, when it comes to computers, right, I've been building computers since I was 12 years old. If my computer had a problem, right, because I've had so many issues with building computers, from GPUs to CPUs to memory to hard drive failures to overheating and stuff, I have a long list of experience that I can use to fix that issue. Okay. So I'm going to stop talking there and let's move on to the second story. Now, if you've been following MATIC news or Polygon news, right, you could see how Polygon Studios captures Web2 talent, hires staff from Amazon, E, and others by Ronaldo Marquez, again, 7 days ago. Launched in 2021, this talks about Polygon itself. Polygon's attempting to bridge Web2 and Web3. According to a press release shared with Bitcoin, Polygon Studios announced 5 new hires, which will be strengthened its ranks. The developers arm is led by Ryan White, formerly head of YouTube Gaming, right? Now, that is a big deal because, as you know, when it comes to streaming and stuff, Twitch is the number one, right? Now, the platform that has made the largest gain in terms of live streaming is actually YouTube Gaming, right? YouTube Gaming has eclipsed Facebook. Now, nobody is near Twitch at all because, Twitch is the grandfather of live streaming, of gaming, of competitive esports when it comes to online. But Ryan White, right, he's one of the guys who made YouTube Gaming what it is, and it is a powerhouse when it comes to gaming. I mean, there are loads of people who have contracts, famous esports players, famous streamers who left Twitch to come to YouTube Gaming. And I think this shows that Polygon is really sort of extending its arms. But yeah, I mean, that's good, right? When people are expanding and people are hiring new people, you can say that is something good for an ecosystem or good for an index token in the case of Amun. All right, now let's move on to Aavegotchi. Aavegotchi as well. Oh, this is Aavegotchi's news. So Aavegotchi from March 17th. So last week, the end of last week, right? She's Gotchi lending dates announced. So lending, right? We know lending and borrowing is part of crypto as well. In our Solana ecosystem index, Solent is the lending protocol there. Aavegotchi lending is the Aavegotchi's protocol sharing economy that allows users to lend their Aavegotchi NFTs out to other players for a set period of time. The owners of the NFT are able to set up any upfront fees, the duration of the lending period, and the earnings split. Aavegotchi lending is 100% on the blockchain, allowing for seamless, trustless, and secure sharing of Aavegotchi NFTs. So I originally thought this idea was very similar to Solent, where you sort of put your ghost or ghost tokens, GHST, on maybe Quickswap, right, and you can borrow against that. But this is apparently more similar to the Axie Infinity scheme, if you're not fully familiar with that, in that Axie Infinity sort of whales or really wealthy players can lend out their Axies, and new players can borrow them, and they can use them to earn money, and then the original player gets like passive income because they don't have to play the game. They're just earning income from other players playing the game, and the player who borrowed the NFT, they get to sort of earn money to hopefully earn their own NFTs at the same time. So this is how will Gotchi lending improve NFT gaming? Gotchi lending solves one of the largest issues facing NFT games. This, of course, is the issue of how to scale the player bases of traditional games without diluting the supply of the underlying NFT assets. So, I mean, that's literally just what I said is, right? This gives Gotchi, a potential player base, a large player base, because they are doing really, really well. But again, there are so many ecosystems, right? So people just getting into crypto, people just getting into NFT gaming, and then like Aavegotchi and a bunch of other sort of NFT gaming places, Splinterlands, Axie, they're going to be dealing with the AAA guys who are, well, they're making AAA games, right? And when these games come out, a lot of the gamers or NFT gamers are probably going to switch to that, because AAA games overall, when it comes to streaming, are the ones that make the most money if you're streaming. But then again, this is NFT gaming as well. That might be another point. This explains what you can do with Aavegotchi lending as well.
Play to earn gaming has already accomplished so much, proving we're on the cusp of a major advance for all of gaming. But to get there, a play to earn model that massively scales still needs to be achieved. The issue with something like the popular scholarship approach is that it relies too much on a human-heavy middle layer. Aavegotchi lending, however, introduces a completely on-chain lending experience. The Gotchi lending smart contract is designed so that Gotchis are lent with limited rights, so that a borrower cannot run away with the Aavegotchi. This is key because instant approvals and a robust sharing economy are then possible. Let's look at how it works. First, do you want your Aavegotchi to be available for rent to anyone globally, or only members of your friend circle? This matters because a guild may prefer to only offer their Gotchis to members. The second parameter you can set is duration. You can lend your Gotchi for an hour, a shift, or a day or two. Heck, you could set the rental duration for something like 12 hours, so your Aavegotchi is being played with 24/7, alternating between the hemispheres. You can also set a flat rental fee, but there are many scenarios where you may choose to set it to 0. A guild may waive any fee so that their members don't need to pay up front. Instead, most will focus on setting an automated reward split. This is probably the most important parameter to set. All tokens earned during the rental duration are deposited into an escrow balance that splits rewards at the time of completion. You can advertise your Gotchi with a split of 80-20, 50-50, or whatever you think makes the most sense. Sometimes a player will win in-game NFTs, and the contract also enables a similar split decision to be programmed for those. For guilds and individuals alike, Gotchi lending offers a seamless, massively scalable way to instantly rent their Gotchis to strangers, all with the security and terms they are comfortable with. For everyone who wants to play in the Gotchiverse, this means they don't necessarily need capital to join the fun and play to earn. Anyone is able to farm Alchemica tokens, craft gameplay NFTs, socialize in a lodge, and simply just make it.
And then love these graphics when lending. So Aavegotchi lending is launching next week. So One thing I want to mention about Aavegotchi as well is that we might be doing a podcast with one of the co-founders of Aavegotchi, set up by my manager, Tyler. Of course, you guys see Tyler on Telegram and Discord. You see him tweeting and doing Medium articles and stuff. So he has managed to secure this interview for us. So if you're a fan of PECO, and because you're a fan of PECO, you've got to be a fan of Aavegotchi as well. So we might get to meet one of the men behind the Aavegotchi ecosystem and the Aavegotchi, where Aavegotchi is going. So I'm excited for that. We haven't nailed down a specific date for the interview just because, as usual, right, you guys know I'm in Taiwan. Taiwan is 12 hours ahead of the States. So when I go to bed, I end up waking up and getting messages, and I've got to wait another 12 hours for Americans to get up so I can get their messages. And so I did suggest 2 times for the interview, so it should be happening this week. And if it happens this week, I had another interview scheduled for tomorrow, for Thursday. I might push that interview to next week, Thursday, and then get the Aavegotchi one out this weekend if possible. Okay. Now, the other cool thing I want to show you about Aavegotchi is this sort of the good old, reliable Drake meme. So we talked about this previously on the last Week in PECO episode where, they're doing the Alchemica Playdrop. If you don't know what Alchemica is, right, I would suggest you look at the Aavegotchi's Gaming Bible. Again, we've talked about Chapter 1 and Chapter 3 before. But as you can see, the difference is it is a fair launch. The tokens actually have utility, and we talked about that before. The utility of the tokens is it allows you to speed up time, right? A lot of these NFT games have sort of like counters of stuff. So this, airdrop allows you basically to speed up time. So, the best example I can give you is a game called Sunflower Land, where when you chop down a tree, right, it takes 2 hours for that tree to come back. So, but if in Aavegotchi, if there was a similar mechanism, instead of it being 2 hours, it could just be 1 hour, right? There's nothing allocated to the founders, right? There's no pre-mining, and VCs don't hold anything. So that shows Aavegotchi's commitment to the community, and I'm very, very impressed with that. All right, let's move on to Quickswap. So Quickswap's got a bunch of news going on. I think they've got some really stuff. So it says, Quickswap asked the community to split or not to split Quick token, right? This talks about who Quickswap is. If approved, a Quick token will be split, thus increasing its total supply from the current 1 million to 100 million or 1 billion. The latter will be decided in posterior voting if the community decides to approve the event at all. All right, so this talks about, the Twitter stuff. You can have a look at that yourself. People explained about splitting the token. This sort of explains the tokenomics, right, of some of the other competitors, right? Because Quickswap is a DEX. Uni's got 459 million tokens. Osmo, 282 million. 1inch, 1.46 billion. PancakeSwap, right? I'm a big fan of that, 273 million. Now compare that to Quick, 420,000. So, of course, for some people, it makes sense when you look at all the other DEXs that Quickswap is splitting their token, because it gives a few reasons in there, and one of the reasons is it just allows greater access to the token. So the proponents, right, it says right here, of this proposal believe Quick is undervalued when compared to the other decentralized exchange tokens. I totally agree with that. And so this explains why does Quick want to split its token. At the time of writing, Quick trades at $172 with an 8.8% profit in the last week. This price seems to be positive, responding to the potential token split. Now, let's have a look at the proposal. So, this first proposal, right, should Quick split? Of course, it was passed. Now, the second question is, do you split into 1 million or do you split into 1 billion? And so let's read this here. It says, the first phase of our governance vote just concluded. 93.19% voted yes in Quickswap's proposal to do a token split to make Quick more appealing, right? Now we move on to the next phase of our governance vote. Should Quickswap split Quick by 1 to 100 or 1 to 1000? More information about the split can be found on the blog post here. So please have a look at that if you want to. So this is actually ending very, very soon. It's going to end in 2 days at 12 a.m. Taiwanese time. And so far, right, people are voting to split by, it looks like 1 to 100. So it's going to be 1 million something Quick tokens as opposed to 1 billion Quick tokens, which will improve access, right? Because so, with you guys have probably seen, if you're on a centralized exchange, there are some tokens with very, very low numbers, right? Like in the hundreds of thousands. And of course, there are whales, right? So regular people like you, like me, it's very impossible for us to buy some of those tokens just because the volume is low. Like, I mean, the best example, right? You look at Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin has 21 million tokens, or 21 million coins, right? Which is why the price of Bitcoin is going to, again, not financial advice, is going to skyrocket at some point when all the tokens, when all the coins are mined, because it has that fixed supply. And there are 7 billion people on Earth. There are whole hundreds of millions of people into crypto as well. And a lot of people on Bitcoin. I do, you know, my wife does, lots of my friends do. And it's very hard to own something when there only, you know, is a very low amount of that stuff. So I think this is good for Quick. Some people, of course, disagree, right? Some people are voting for the 1 billion option over here. Let's wait a few days. I think the next time we do Last Week in PECO, you guys will know the news if you don't know it already. Now, if you are a Quickswap holder or you're a PECO holder and you want to vote, right, you can burn your tokens and vote for this, you know, as well, to see what happens. Okay, let's move on to the last piece of news today. The last piece of news is, of course, is about our leverage trading network gains, and lots of stuff going on with gains as well. First thing I want to do is stop by and check in on the overall trade volume. Gains sitting at $7.7 billion in all-time volume. Again, always going up, especially now they have a trading competition going on. And this is the trading competition. First place wins $30,000, and there are 300 spots available for prizes. The contest started just yesterday. So if you are a PECO holder or a gains holder and you want to participate, if you're smart enough to do leverage trading, I'm definitely not, or nuts if you're bold, I guess is the word. This is something to think about. So they're using some of the money they got from the Polygon Foundation, a grant, 80,000 MATIC and 37,750 GNS, so gains tokens. This explains when it starts. So 300 winners instead of 1,000. Forex is weighted less, right? So crypto is counting more. So I think that is totally fair because gains is a crypto protocol, and Forex and crypto are just, they're not in the same ballpark. All right, this explains the rewards situation. 6,400 MATIC, 20,000 in gains, so you get your $30,000. Top 3 traders will win a combined total of $65,000. That is very impressive. And let's have a look here. So it's been almost 24 hours since our trading competition has started. Score formula is optimized to reward traders who take a bigger risk, right? Because gains is about leverage trading, right? You've probably seen on the website, right? Gains offers up to 150x leverage, which is supremely risky, so please be careful. Over those who take smaller risks and win. Crypto trades also weighted 10x more than Forex. We already talked about that. This is a cool graphic as well. And the last thing is this sort of explains how well gains is done. This sort of goes up to March 1st that gains, you know, their fees in DAI has just gone up since they've getting more and more popular since last year. And that's really good. So overall, guys, lots of good news that's happening when it comes to our PECO token. PECO is doing well. Our tokens are doing well. There are lots of stuff. I know you guys are looking forward to what is the next token. As you know, we're working on an L1 token. There is other stuff I would like to tell you because there's a lot of exciting stuff going on, but I can't mention that just yet. But just hold on to your horses. We've got lots of stuff planned for 2022. It is only March, right? There are 9 more months left of the year. There's going to be lots of opportunities for you guys to do things in crypto, to sort of expand your portfolio if you want to, if you're interested in index tokens. I'm not advising anybody to do anything, but definitely keep an eye out on things. So this week, as I mentioned before, right, we should be having an interview with the co-founder of Aavegotchi. Next week as well, we'll be back to Last Week in DeFi. And the following week, I will meet someone who runs a blockchain development company. He's a former MIT professor. Lots of interesting stuff coming up in that sense as well. And as usual as well, if you're somebody working in crypto, if you're new to crypto and you want to talk about your experiences, please come to Telegram or Discord or contact us on twitter.com/Amun. We'd love to hear from you as well. I want to thank everybody for listening and supporting the podcast. Don't forget to share and subscribe on whatever social media you're on. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that bell button. Please subscribe. We need more subscribers. We want more people to get to know Amun, more people to get to know PECO, more people to get to know me, maybe. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It has always been fun making these videos. I appreciate it a ton. And I will talk to you guys later on in the week. This video should be up at the latest by Wednesday. All right, later, guys.